Hey everyone, it's Michael from BetterTOEFLScores.com, where I help students get the feedback they need to improve their TOEFL speaking and writing scores. Today, we're going to focus on one key area that holds students back from getting 26 or higher in the speaking section: tone variation and intonation. So let's listen to an audio clip to kind of illustrate the point here. Let me give you some background. When students use my TOEFL speaking and writing service, I sometimes will notice some specific area of their pronunciation that they need to work on, and I will recommend certain types of accent reduction videos to help them improve in those areas. For example, if I notice as you listen to this particular voice recording here,
In this situation, you recognize that your teacher has a desire to be respected. In 1978, the United States Supreme Court declared marriage to be of fundamental importance to all Indians.
so as I listened to his voice recording here, I can tell that he's not really varying his intonation the way he needs to. Therefore, I can recommend specific accent reduction lessons on intonation. I actually have 5 to help him improve in this specific area. So that's kind of how it works. So let's go back and talk a little bit more about this. So as you hear, the student speaks pretty clearly, but his tone is flat and he lacks natural rises and falls. This is what we call monotone delivery. Again, listen a little bit more.
Individuals. As the plane uses jet engines, or even proper in some cases, to move itself forward, air rushes by the wing.
So on the TOEFL speaking section, this kind of delivery can hurt your score. Under delivery, one of the key rubrics used by ETS to score your TOEFL speaking responses. So what is intonation exactly? Intonation is the musical quality of your voice. It's how your pitch rises and falls when you speak. In English, intonation shows emotion, organizes ideas, and emphasizes key points. Without it, your speech can sound robotic, even if your grammar and vocabulary are perfect. So why you must vary your intonation? There's 3 reasons to vary your tone. Actually, I'm going to give you 4. And I'll give you example sentences that you can read along with to practice. And if you like, you can actually practice reading everything in this video. When you get done watching it, you can practice. And as you listen to the video, look at the sentences I'm reading and try to work on varying your tone when you hear me vary my tone. Okay, number 1, it shows emphasis and contrast. When you stress key words, listeners can understand what's most important. For example, I said I wanted the red book, not the blue one. How about number 2? It keeps listeners engaged. A monotone voice puts people to sleep. Rising and falling tones keep your speech interesting. Example, let me tell you why this idea works better than the other. So by emphasizing and varying the tone on why, it helps to engage your audience. Number 3, it signals the end of an idea or question. Falling tone signals the end of a statement. Rising tone often signals a question or that more is coming. Examples, the professor believes this theory is outdated. So when I get to the end of the sentence, I'm going to have falling tone there. But is this really true? So notice with the question, this is a yes-no question. Typically, we vary our tone at the end of those yes-no questions. So let's build on number 3. So when you're speaking in English, especially on the TOEFL, you often break your response into thought groups. At the end of a non-final thought group, speakers usually slightly raise their pitch to show that the idea isn't finished yet. So here's an example sentence. You can read it with me with rising pitch at the comma. Even though the university increased tuition last year, which upset many students, It also expanded financial aid programs to help them. So when you look at this particular sentence here, I think it's important that you have tone variation. So where you see the comma there, right there, the tone can go up there. So even though the university increased tuition last year, and then you have another pause after this comma, you say, which upset many students, it also expanded financial aid programs to help them. So when you get to the end of the sentence, your tone needs to fall a little bit. So in this example, you should have actually 3 different tone variations. The first one comes after the dependent clause, so have a slightly higher pitch variation at the end of the dependent clause. You have another dependent clause after that and do the same strategy. When you get to the end of the independent clause, your tone falls a bit. So this kind of tone variation signals to the listener that you're still building your point, and it makes your response easier to follow. So if you're struggling to sound more natural like this student, don't worry, you're not alone. Most TOEFL test takers need help improving their delivery. That's why I offer personalized speaking and writing feedback at bettertoeflscores.com. I'll point out exactly where your tone falls flat. I'll show you how to fix it because I provide feedback to my students by email. Want to sound more like a native speaker and finally get the score you need? Check out the 99-month coaching service and start improving today.